Hey, welcome back to Mobility Project. Here's what's on tap tonight. We've got two pieces we're going to work on. One is we're going to start with the super couch. I'm working with a good NFL football player this year today, and we're reminding sometimes that, man, athlete capsules are stiff. One of the problems that we see is that, if I take my hip to end range and I'm really feeling a big stretch here, my quads and anterior musculature may be like a 10 on a stretch, but I haven't even begun to get into the thick capsule of the hip. In this situation, I'm stretching everything around, but what I really need to do is kind of open up the hip capsule. Until I affect that with the band and change that position or load that up appropriately, I'm never going to get the change I'm after. So we take the typical couch stretch, we end ourselves up in this kind of wind-up corner. And this is a real good indicator of the kind of capacity you're going to have. You should be able to kind of get, push this back, lock this back here. You should be able to get that leg fully kind of engaged and pressing. The problem is I feel a big hip or a big quad stretch here, and I'm going to attack the hip. So it's fine in that aspect. But come over here and take a look. As soon as I'm going to just put a kettle back here and block it. Oh, there it is. There's the skull bell. Just going to block this here. I know the setup is a little bit tricky, but it's really worth the payoff. So I'm going to take my green band here, pretty thick in the capsule. It's pretty stiff. I'm going to load that thing up right in the goolie. Then I'm going to put myself back into that corner. Same piece. This time, I've got this distraction force pulling my hip, and this completely changes the nature and the feel of this hip mobilization. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this today. Load up. My friend, I can press on this, make it worse. Squeeze the butt. Don't do this unsupported. The hip flexor could pull me into overextension, cause all kinds of back tweakiness. So in the meantime, I want to have my butt on, load in the butt, press forward, and then let's hang out here. We're going to contract, relax, 5 seconds on, end range, release, moving towards new end range for 10 seconds. The super couch, for me, is as bad as it gets. I think this is just heinous. Ergo, I'm not going to do a full cycle for you. Okay, that's position number one. Position number two tonight is a test about your thoracic extension. So take a look at this. This is an athlete's range of motion, athlete's mobility. That if I'm in a hollow position, which means, forget my badonky donk here for a second, but if I squeeze my bum, the bum is all about contracting and creating position. I didn't say pelvic tilt, but the butt really kind of pulls the pelvis back into relationship, so I'm neutral. So if I squeeze my butt hard, and then pull my rib cage in and down. Now I'm in a tight position. Point the feet, and unlocks the legs. Gets me back into being able to use my posterior chain. I should be able to put my arms over my head and still maintain a hollow position. So what you shouldn't see is that the two-hand rule, rib cage, sternum, as my arm goes up over my head, you shouldn't see that relationship change or tilt. So I should be able to squeeze my bum, control that rib cage in and down, and be able to get my ribs or arms flat on the ground without tilting or overextending. And if you can't do that, then what's that say about what your overhead pressing position is going to be like? What's it say about your swimming hollow position? What about your pulling positions? Chances are that as you end up overhead, you're going to tilt and lose connection with the arm. So what we're going to do, once you've tapped into double couch, it's only 4 minutes, you're going to spend as much time as you can, one rib at a time. We're going to bridge up and start cleaning up those ribs. And this perpetually gets stiff. Start by belly tight. Lift up and press that rib cage in, and I'm going to be able to get right up on my ear. I can come across and capture the soft tissue. Looks like a PNF pattern, D1, D2. Extra rotation at the top. I can really kind of hit that corner, see what that's like. So I'm trying to get my palm flat, into and rotate to palm flat. If I want to go over here, there's nothing going on, but as soon as I'm back up here, I find a tight business. I might be a little closer to my spine. That hits more of that facet rib interface, rib facet. I can even get over on the angle of the spine, which feels very different, but I'm still between the shoulder blade and the spine, and then I'm going to hang out there until I make change, and then I'm going to go up, well, that one is way bad, and what I need to do is stay on this rib until it stops being painful, stay on this soft tissue until I make a change in it, and it's about creating movement. Rib cage stays down, don't bridge, don't tilt, and just keep going back and forth until you feel like, oh, something's changed. So touch, come back, all the way into the corners. The test, retest, of course, what's that look like? And it just makes it so much easier. This should be your prime kind of resource for starting for hip or shoulder impingement. when we see an athlete who has shoulder impingement, let's clear that mechanism, get that shoulder blade out of the way so we get the arm to function the way it should function. This obeys our kind of rule of, hey, by definition, a functional movement starts a wave of contraction from the trunk to the periphery, from core to sleeve, axillary skeleton, peripheral skeleton. What I'm doing is managing the primary relationship of the shoulder to the thoracic spine, starting with the trunk first and working on that. And boy, it's maybe not necessarily tight lats, but it's that rib. 2 ideas, big piece on back pain tomorrow. We'll see you then.